Hello everyone, it's Kelly and welcome back to the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. I'm so excited to be sharing with you Day 1's products from our holiday cheer release. Today is all about Farmhouse Holiday. So I have a small collection of products I'm going to share with you in this video. So first off, we have a great 6x6 inch stamp that is called Barnwood Background. You can see all the great detail and texture you're going to get when you stamp that great barnwood planked design. Now there are also the barnwood planks dies, so that's super fun to create all types of backgrounds and things like that. There's also a new buzzword, Merry, and you can see it also has all those great sentiments that are going to coordinate along with that. There's also a 3-piece die set. Now this is an awesome stamp set. It's 6x8. It's called Farmhouse Tree Builder. And you can see that great layering stamp set along with all of the accessories you need to make the perfect farmhouse tree. There's also a coordinating die set. Now there's also a stencil that goes along with that set. You can see the layering tree design there. Also some of the accessories that are in that set. So if you like to ink blend and do things like that on your paper, this may be a great stencil for you to pick up. Now next we have a great building die set for you. This is the fireplace builder. So this is really fun to create those wonderful Christmas scenes. There's also a stencil that coordinates with that. So if you want to add stonework around your fireplace, or if you like to ink blend with your blending brushes and things like that, that's going to be a great one to pick up with our fireplace builder. There's also a beautiful lantern. Now this is A2 size, so it can fit into an A2 size envelope. You can always pop that onto a larger card, and we're going to create that and look at all these products coming up next. So first of all, I have that really cool Barnwood background stamp. I have just some Neenah Desert Storm paper there in my MISTI, and I'm inking that up with some brown distressed oxide ink, and you can see how cool all that texture is going to give you. It's going to give a great background for all of your Christmas designs, even some of your buzzwords and stamps and die cuts. It's really awesome. Now you'll see here I've got some white paper popped into my MISTI now, and I'm putting a gray ink over that, and that's really going to give you that really cool kind of gray, kind of modern farmhouse look. So great just when you change the colors up and get different looks. Now next are the Barnwood planks dies. You can see there's lots of dies in this set, and they are individual, so you can use those one at a time, or you can run those all through your die machine, and it's going to be great to cover a A2 size card. So I have all of my little pieces cut out here in Neenah Desert Storm. I do have a background piece there that's A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And before I start, I'm going to ink on some Distress Oxide ink, and I love the way that when you brush on that ink, it brings out all that yummy texture and detail that is in those die cuts. They do emboss. That wood grain there is embossed when you run that through your die machine, so it's going to both cut around the edge and then emboss on the inside, so it gives you a great look and lots of great texture. So you can see I am using that A2 panel back there as kind of my background piece. It makes it easy to layer all those wood planks on, and then you can see how cool that is. There would be great for a background for anything. Now next I'm going to do kind of that modern gray whitewashed look, and I have run this through my die machine 2 or 3 times to get lots and lots of planks, because this time I'm going to stagger them like a farmhouse wall or floor. And so I have added some tape runner, and I'm just going to go through and kind of randomly stagger those. And you can see how great that gray ink shows up there, and it really makes that texture pop out. So as I'm finishing up here with all my little die cuts, I'm going to press them down really nicely, and then I'm going to flip this whole thing over, and I'm going to trim off those edges just with a paper trimmer. And then when I get finished with all my little edges, I'll flip it over, and you can see how awesome those barn wood planks are. It's going to be an awesome background for your layering Christmas trees and your die cuts and all of those things. How great will florals look on those backgrounds? So I'm really excited about that one. It's the Barnwood Planks die. You can see how Carol has used the dies here in this beautiful card. I love the way that she left the white in between. It looks like a great wall or a background, even a barnwood or farmhouse floor. Now next up is our Merry buzzword, and you've already seen a little bit of this one. So there is the Merry stamp set, has lots of great coordinating words and sentiments to go along with that large Merry stamp. I'm going to put that into my MISTI, and I stamped it on some white paper. But I also wanted to show you how I love to use this large Merry stamp. There are 3 coordinating dies that go along with that stamp set, and I love to take the largest shadow that has the pierced edge. I cut the shadow piece that has the pierced edge. I just have that loaded or put down into my MISTI, and then I love to use the stamp, the buzzword stamp, and stamp in the middle of that largest shadow piece, and then I use some embossing ink. I've got glitter embossing powder here. I'm going to shake that off and then heat it with my heat tool. And I love using my stamp this way with my die cuts. And then I love using just the die cuts as well. But that's just one more great use for the stamps and the coordinating dies. And you can see over there to the right, I have my 3 die cuts ready to go. I have that green is the pierced background, just like I've used here. And then I have red that is kind of the first shadow, and then Merry, which is that scripty word. Now I'm just going to use some of our liquid adhesive and very quickly add all my die cuts together and stack those up. And then this kind of gives you a look at what you get using all 3 die cuts, and then the stamp on that largest shadow. Now here is where I've used the whole stamp set and stamped that onto white paper, but you can see Be Merry, holiday season, to you and yours, from me and mine. So there's lots of great greetings to mix and match with the Merry buzzword set. Now next up may be one of my favorite stamp sets in this holiday cheer release, and this is the Farmhouse Tree Builder. You can see there's 3 layers for your little tree. There's 2 different containers that you can put your tree in. There's stockings and ornaments and lots of little gifts. There's an angel for the top of the tree and a really bright shiny star. There's even garland that you can add to that fireplace builder, as I'll show you later on. But lots of fun things. There is a coordinating die set that goes along with the Farmhouse Tree Builder set, and it's going to cut out every single thing in that large 6x8 inch stamp set. There's also a stencil, so if you like to ink blend or maybe do 1 layer cards, the stencil may be something that you want to pick up so you can ink blend and do some really fun techniques with that. So I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to build and layer this farmhouse tree. I'm just using some different greens in Distress Oxide, and I am adding that ink pad directly onto my little tree here. So one thing I like to do is take a sponge dauber, a little finger dauber, and I can kind of cover areas better and it seems to go on really smooth on those big solid stamps. So that's something to keep in mind as you're playing and creating with this tree builder stamp set. Now this is the second layer, so this is going to be the darker layer. You want to start out with the light layer and then go darker as you build up, and you can see what great texture and detail that gives. Now I'm going to stamp a second tree, and this one is in Twisted Citron, so it's nice and fun and bright. I am going to take that second layer and do a darker color. I believe this is Mowed Lawn, and I'm going to stamp that down. You can see all the beautiful definition in those pine boughs and things that you get there. I'm going to take this up, and before I add my lights or my little twinkles inside the tree with that third layer, I'm going to make sure that I dry this ink really well, because Distress Oxide tends to stay wet a little longer. And then I'm going to use a anti-static powder tool and use some sticky ink, embossing ink. I stamped down that third or kind of lights or twinkling layer, added some gold glittery embossing powder, and I'm going to heat set that with my heat tool, and then you'll see all those beautiful little twinkling spots really pop out there on that tree, and it's really classy and really fun looking there. You can also add different colors of embossing powder, or you could use that stencil and put on some glittery glaze or anything like that. So these trees and the stencil and all the products are so fun to play with and just mix and match and create different looks. Now I'm going to take that darker tree that I created at the beginning. I'm going to take that second layer of the tree again, which I first stamped in the dark green. I offset it just a little bit and stamped it with embossing ink, and this time I'm adding a layer of puffy white embossing powder, and when I heat set this, it's going to puff up and it's going to look like snow on my tree. So just one more idea there when you are playing with the layering farmhouse Christmas tree stamps and dies. You can see all those accessories stamped here on white cardstock just with black ink. And then there on the green cardstock, I stamped all those in fade out ink, or some fading ink that I did some no line Copic coloring with. So these are fun to play with and get different looks as you use them, depending on how you stamp and color them. So you can see the beautiful garland there, the tree toppers, all the cute little stockings, and all the presents. I love that on the gifts there are greeneries and pine cones and things like that. It really dresses up those cute little packages. And then I love all those cute little ornaments and bows as well. So really fun to create a really beautiful farmhouse Christmas tree. Now here's a close-up look at that stencil. So you could do a one layer card, use the stencil there, and brush on your color. Now here's a beautiful example from design team member Leanne. You can see her rich and beautiful layered Christmas tree there, and she's paired that with our buzzword Mary. Okay, the next building die set I have to share with you is the A2 size lantern. So I'm going to pop this onto a 5x7 card base, but I want to remind you that it does fit into an A2 size envelope. I'm just using this card base here so it's easy to see everything. As you can see, you have all the layers, even the little handle, the little circle there that can go either down if you want that to fit into an A2 size envelope, or it can go up and it will fit on a 5x7 card or in a 5x7-inch envelope. Now I'm taking my layers and I am adding a little bit of gray Distress Oxide ink because I wanted those to be black, but I wanted that to kind of pop off the front there and not be the exact same color. So I am going to use some foam tape and pop up the dome part that goes at the top, and then the part that layers on the bottom as the little feet. Now you could do those pieces in silver, red, whatever your heart desires, depending on what you're creating your lantern for. And you can see that great detail there in the center with those crossbars and little lines. Now here's that little circle, the little handle that I have cut out of silver metallic paper. Now I want to show you, this is an A2 size envelope. If you adhere your little circle down like that, the little handle, it pops right into your regular A2 size envelope. Now if you wanted to add it onto a 5x7 card, you could have your little handle pop up just like that. So it's whatever that you need. It's going to fit and look great on both sizes. Here I'm just kind of fiddling around with this. I love the look of lanterns with decor, and I love when I go into decor stores and things like that, and they have beautiful lanterns and things with different things inside of them. This would be great as a shaker card as well. So I am just borrowing all of my little farmhouse tree builder images, kind of setting those in there so you get a look at how cute that would be set up as a little scene. You could trim off the side of your little tree there, and then you have a great little lantern or a shaker card. Just put your plastic over the top as I'm showing right there. So lots of cool ideas with this lantern building die set. Here's a beautiful lantern from Jenny. You can see it's glowing on the inside. She's used the swag or garland from that farmhouse layering tree set. And then of course our beautiful buzzword Mary. Now next up is this really cool fireplace building set. You can see all of those dies, and I have cut those out of white. Now if you like to color blend and kind of do your own thing and get some really good blends of color and things like that, you may want to pick up the stencil. You can blend directly onto your white die cuts as I'm showing there. You can also cut these out of just colored cardstock, of course. I'm going to do that, but I am going to use that stone surround part and blend that directly onto my fireplace with some gray ink. Now you can use all the rest of those stencils and add definition and shading onto the rest of your die cuts, but I'm just going to use this really cool stone part today, and I'm using hickory smoke and just brushing that on. Now when I pick up my stencil, and you can use different colored cardstocks as well for this, but I wasn't too crazy about how light the grout or the mortar was in between my stones, so I'm just going to do a light wash of that gray over there with my blending brush. And now that I have all that blended on, and I love the look of that stone on the face of that fireplace, I'm just going to take a card base, and then I can start building this fireplace. So I'm going to use some of my liquid adhesive and then start getting everything stuck down. Now I stuck down the main portion of that fireplace, and then I have a black piece that's going to go on the inside, and I didn't want it just stark harsh black, so I did take a little bit of that hickory smoke ink and I blended over the top of that. I used some really dark gray cardstock for the mantelpiece, and then the little base piece there that goes down at the floor or by the bottom of our fireplace. And I love our liquid glue for this because with all of these little die cuts, it does give me time to kind of shimmy everything around. So as you notice here, I'm moving on to this next piece, which is the insert or the inside piece of my fireplace. Now I only added glue to the top spot or the top portion, and I'll show you why. It's because you need to add all the other little pieces, and this made it really easy to line up with only adding glue to the top. So I'm going to lift the bottom, put the little wood pieces in there, the little logs, and you can see everything goes back down nicely. I left that bottom open. Now I can put my little fire pieces in there. Still, the little bottom of that little silver piece is still not adhered. I'm going to use my pen blade and pick up and just add adhesive and the little fire pieces to that. Now that I'm done with the bottom part, I can go ahead and adhere that bottom part of the silver or the little fireplace insert, the metal part. And then I'm taking all the pieces of those little flames and fire and flickers and things that come up and adhering those down. And then I thought this was a great time to use some of our adhesive gems. So I took some in yellow and orange, and I thought they were really fun and added a little sparkle and a little shimmer inside my little fireplace builder set here. So once I get my adhesive gems down, I am going to kind of show you a fun little scene. So again, you can use that farmhouse tree builder set. You can see I'm going to set my tree into that cute little basket, and then I'm going to surround my fireplace with gifts. I love those little presents. I love the farmhouse look to the plaid. I'm going to add my garland to the front of my fireplace. Add my little stockings. And then all I need up there above my mantle is a cute little sentiment, and then I've got a great Christmas scene all ready to go. I love how today's products all mix and match and coordinate with one another, just like Alba's done on this awesome fireplace card. You can see she's used the stone and the fireplace there, and she's coordinated that with the layering farmhouse tree builder set. You can see the garland and the stockings. It's absolutely awesome. Thank you all for joining me for day one. I hope you have enjoyed this farmhouse and holiday products that we had today. Make sure you come back tomorrow for day two. Make sure you check out our blog, and as always, go follow us on social media. And I will be back here tomorrow with day two. See you then. Bye-bye.